fairly short agenda, but there's a few items on it that are very important. So we might as well jump right into it. We have the Recreation Department summer concert. Got a few announcements first. And of course it's sideways. The summer concert series is continuing on Wednesday nights, and on the 16th, it's Young Musicians Showcase coming up, and that's at 6:30 at the bandstand. Well, I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to tease one at a time.
Yeah.
On August 23rd, we have the Elastic Five Band, and on August 30th, the Pub Kings. And they're all at 6:30 at the bandstand. I think one of them was playing when I came in last time for meeting on a Wednesday night, and sounded quite good. All right, other announcements we have. The MBT 3A Community Survey. There's a community survey. I'll just read it. The MBTA 3A Advisory Committee is providing an opportunity for town residents to take a survey and give their comments regarding the plan for the town MBTA multifamily zoning requirements. In the next few weeks, a survey will open to the Town of Millis webpage and will allow people to comment on the proposed site for the multifamily housing zoning in Millis. After 9 months of meeting, this will be the prime opportunity for residents to comment on the proposed bylaw before it's finalized and goes to next spring's town meeting. The survey will be posted on the main page of the town's website and advertised on the Millis Facebook page once it's ready. It will remain posted for a month, allowing residents plenty of time to participate, so watch the town's website, Millis Community Media website, and local social media for links to the survey. This is the MBTA zoning that mandates that an override district or a district that's set aside to allow up to 14 units per acre in zoning for homes. And it's a state requirement that was included. There's penalties if we don't do it, and there's real benefits if we do it. So it's something to get some really good feedback on. For 9 months, I've been attending the meetings. We did have one public session. Well, all the sessions are public, but we had one public workshop where people came and gave feedback. This will be a chance to do it without having to drive all the way to the middle school. You can do it right there from your own computer, which might get a better result. We'll see what the turnout is. But the feedback is important. We've narrowed it down to certain areas and certain plans and certain designs, so I hope everybody takes part and works on that. All right. Is this a hearing that we have to do at 7:05?
Oh, there was one more, the roundtable business?
Oh, the appointment, okay.
Sorry, if you want
Oh, Small Business Roundtable. That was not on the list that I saw. There's a Small Business Roundtable, a listening session with small business owners and employees from Millis with Representative James Arena DeRosa. That's August 29th at 8:30 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial Building. So that's August 29th, 8:30 a.m. is to discuss small businesses, experiences, concerns, and suggestions with our state rep, James Arena DeRosa, and 8:30 in the morning here at Town Hall. So I hope people will attend that. He's been a great rep to work with on a lot of things, and I think this is a good area for getting more input from the community. So I encourage you to attend that. Anything else before I move on to the appointments first?
Yep.
All right.
Actually, before we do that,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, give a shout out to the Recreation Department, not only for the concerts, because we went last week and it was really great, a great time. There was an ice cream truck, a lot of fun for families. But they put on an excellent summer camp experience. I had some children that attended and they had a great time, and the staff was great, and they just did an unbelievable job with it. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. All right, now on to the appointments.
Yes.
All right, we have several appointments tonight. I believe there's 5 of them from the way it looks on the sheet. The first one involves the school committee as well, so thank you for zooming in or attending in person. I see we have the superintendent out there, so we're we have an opening on the school committee because Steve Catalano stepped aside. I'm going to let Mark Conroy, the chairman of the school committee, go into details about all of this.
Yes, thanks, Craig. So first I'll call the Millis School Committee meeting to
order as a joint meeting. We have Shannon Canestrari here and Robin Briggs. Denise Gibbons unfortunately couldn't log in. Thanks for putting us on tonight. We just figured it was easier to just, even though we couldn't be there, none of us could be there in person, to just coordinate with your existing meeting instead of trying to come up with a different one. So Steve Catalano resigned as of June 30th. And so we put out notification enlisting any applicants. So I want to thank the 3 individuals who applied. There were actually 3 who offered. 2 are there tonight, and the third was Dave Baker, who some people may know served on the school committee previously, and offered, if no one else had submitted, that he would have done it for the next few months. But since others had, he withdrew. So I just want to thank all 3 people for stepping up. So I will give it back to you to.
Okay. Basically, the way this appointment is filled is it's a vote of the school committee and the select board. And it's a majority of the vote. So being 3-3, this is a little dicey right now, but we'll like odd numbers for reasons like this, but we'll see what happens. So this will be an appointment to fill until the next town election. So it's not a multi-year commitment. It's until till May, when the elections roll around. And I'd like to thank Dave for applying, and I understand why he withdrew as soon as there was other viable candidates. He wanted to make sure we had coverage, and I thank him for doing that. And I absolutely understand why, with his years of service, he would step aside as soon as we were sure we had others that were available. So Mark and I have not rehearsed or talked today about this, so I'm going to suggest that we have each of the 2 candidates take a moment to tell us a little bit about why they'd like to be on the committee, and go from there. So Donna, would you care to go first?
Sure, either one.
Hi, I'm Donna Cabibbo, lived in town for 33 years. I served on the school committee in Millis for 10 years prior to this, and then 6 years at Tri-County. One of the reasons I feel it's important to step forward right now is that I'm a senior. The school is coming up with some issues that are going to need the confidence and vote of the senior population, and I think I'm well positioned to help with that effort. I think that regardless of anything else, if you've got 30% of your population 60 and older, you definitely want someone to sit on the school committee that might be able to speak to them. All 3 of my children went through the Millis Public Schools. 2 of them also went to Tri-County. And I just feel that having someone sit on the committee who doesn't have children in school brings a very, very different perspective to that group. It's not something that has been the case for quite a while now. I am absolutely passionate about public education. I've been involved in a variety of ways for years in this arena, have been part of 3 superintendent searches, a couple of principal searches. I know the ropes. I can hit the ground running. There's absolutely no reason why I couldn't show up at that first meeting and really add to the discussion. But my major reason for doing this is that I really feel strongly that we need a non-parent and a senior sitting on that committee, because the decisions that are going to need to be made about the schools over the next year, there's the override word out there, whether that happens or not. But if we're going to win any kind of a battle at the polls from a school's perspective, we need a way to engage that older community. And I speak to them and from them, and I think that could be very helpful. So that's it.
Thanks.
Any questions, or you want me to just?
I'm going to
sit
let
down?
Sean speak, and then we'll open it up for questions after that. If it's okay with you, Mark?
Yeah.
So,
that's-
Sean,
I
would
think
you
that's
like
a good
to-
idea.
Hi, I'm a little underdressed, apologize.
You need to move the microphone up.
That's
That's the important part.
My name's Sean Powers. lived in Millis since 2008, I believe. I have two children in the district, a rising 5th and 7th grader. To be honest, I've been in schools since my career is education. I've been a teacher. I am a teacher. I've been a high school administrator for the last 7 years. I'm going back to the classroom now by choice because I'm ready to go back to the classroom. So I've been on the other side of obviously many of these. For my whole career, I've been on the other side of how it works. You know, I know how schools work. I know what it takes to make the decisions that need to be made. The appeal of this is this is the first summer I've had off in 7 years because I've been a full-time administrator the last 7 years. Prior to that, been in several schools. I don't know how specific you want me to get. I've been an assistant principal, dean of students, interim vice principal. I've been a math teacher. I've done a bunch of different things over the years, all the high school level, public and private school for the first few years. I'm not going anywhere as far as being in Millis and my daughters both being here, and we are very, we like it, and I am very interested in the other side of it, so to speak. Going back from being going back into the classroom, not being an administrator is freeing up quite a bit of my brain space and what would be a much higher level of stress that I've been having over the years. I'm kind of looking to make a little bit of a shift, and I care tremendously about public education. I've been doing it for 21 of my 24 years, and hope to have the chance to serve the town and the children in Millis.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
May I just say one more thing?
Sure, I was going to call you up for questions now, so go ahead.
I also want to add that my 6 years sitting on the Tri-County School Committee gives me an insight into what goes on over there that I think could also be very helpful to the Millis School Committee, especially with their proposed building vote coming up this year. So I know the people there, I've stayed connected, and it would, I think, also bring another level of knowledge about what happens there to the board.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm going to open it up to questions for Donna first, and then Sean second, and we can go back and forth a few times. Anybody in the school committee have any questions they'd like to ask?
I don't.
Okay. I'll open it up to this committee.
I have one question for
Sure.
both of the applicants. Do you, at this time, would you intend to serve out the remainder of this term? Thank you. Term only, or would you plan to run in May for the seat moving forward?
Okay, well, first of all, I will answer that question, but from my perspective, sitting where I am, the relevance is the next couple of months and what the school committee is going to be going to coming up to town meeting. I have not made that decision yet definitively. Part of that will, from my perspective, come from how the interaction works with the board and how collaborative and everything they are as a group, and whether that's a place that I want to be sitting come the spring. But from my perspective, we're sitting here now in August. We have to make it to town meeting. There's a lot of very difficult decisions that need to be made. And I think I bring an incredibly good skill set there to help those happen, regardless of whether I have a plan to run again in the spring. So I'm not ruling it out. I'm just not committing to it.
Fair enough.
Okay?
All right, Sean, if you'd like to. Well,
Oh, sorry.
no, she had two questions for, let's have Sean's answer that one. Sean, stay near the front. No,
You had another question?
No, did you have a question for Donna?
Yes.
okay, go ahead.
So you served on the school committee.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and why you left and now why you want to
So
come
I
back?
served on the school committee for 10 years, which was 3 terms plus a little bit.
When?
This was back in the, 96
Okay.
timeframe
Yeah.
was when I joined the board. It was very important for me at that point to get involved. They were putting in the Spanish immersion program, there was a lot of excitement and initiative and vision going on the school committee at that point. We had a superintendent that was all about collaboration and teaching, and I learned more in that 10 years on that committee about education, about advocating for children, not my own children necessarily, because quite often I made decisions that did not benefit my own children, but understanding the bigger school community and everything that went into it. I also ran a successful override effort during that period of time. So I left because 10 years was enough. And that was the only reason I left. And I felt like somebody pulled an IV out of my arm, quite honestly, when I left. And I went from there because my younger daughter and my son ended up at Tri-County. There was an opening there, and I served on that committee for 6 years. And it's not a rotation of position. They actually vote them, and I was vice chair for my second term, pretty much. So that was my only reason for leaving, was that 10 years was kind of time for someone new to step in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sean, if you'd like to come up. And I guess Aaron's question was, do you intend to run for a term, after the appointment?
I don't know.
Okay.
I intend to be very much engaged for the entirety of the next year. And if I'm into it, I'll keep doing it, to put it simply. This is appealing because of the idea of not having to put my name on yard signs all over town and just kind of see what it's like, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
But so we'll see.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sure.
thanks. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Anybody, from the school committee have any questions? I don't see any. Okay. All right.
No, I don't.
I'm sorry? You're set? Okay. I guess we need to make a nomination, somebody needs to make a motion, then we have to have a vote. It's the typical way it goes. And I'm going to defer to the school committee for the nomination, since it's filling a spot on their committee.
Greg, I'd like to nominate Sean for the appointment for the school committee. Well, I'll go into the description after we get if there's a second.
Second.
Okay,
I
it's been
think,
moved and seconded. Discussion?
so,
Remember that.
my biggest reason is, we have years and years, and for years now, on all committees in town, have been encouraging new people to come forward, get involved. Sean brings that. He also brings a very strong education background, and I think both of those things combined with a committee who is on the committee, who has some individuals, myself being one, who has many years of experience. I think it will bring a good balance.
Okay, other discussion?
It's a hard one.
Well, I'll make a comment. First off, I served with Donna for all 10 of those years. I was on the finance committee while she was on the school committee. And I do respect and agree with what you said. We need to have people that can reach out to the community beyond the school parents. The school parents will get us only so far in any override that may need to be had, or the discussion about the Tri-County school renovation that needs to be had. And it's like a Supreme Court hearing. I'm not going to ask you how you'd recommend on that, because that's a decision that has to be made as a group. But those are all things that are going to need feedback from somebody who's been there, done that, and can hit the ground running. I also am impressed with Sean, though, the education background, and the fact that, as Mark said, we've been looking for new people to join committees forever. I mean, the fact that 2/3 of the people that applied served when I started on the finance committee, so that's a excitement that I have, that there is somebody new in the community that wants to reach out. I wish we would have had 5 new people applying, and Donna and Dave also, but it would have been nice to see some excitement, because there's a lot of complaining about our committees, and thank you, Sean, for coming forward and agreeing to serve instead of just type things on the computer about them. So having said that, Anybody else have any other comments, or should I move to the vote?
Well, do we nominate?
We have a nomination. We have a nomination for Sean right now.
Either you're up or down, right?
Yeah, it'll be up or down on Sean, and if that fails, then won't assume, we'll go the other direction. All right. So there's been a motion made to appoint Sean Powers to the school committee. I think we have to poll the boards. It's a roll call vote. So I'll start with our guests. Nothing if I'm not gracious. Yeah. No, we nominate one, we vote on one. Okay, all right. Just a little procedural, nothing. She doesn't have 20 years' experience. So we'll start with a roll call vote. Mark? Mark, can you?
Aye.
Aye for Sean. That's a vote yes for Sean. I can't read the name.
Shayna.
Shayna?
Aye.
Is that,
Robin.
thank you. Robin, I'm sorry. I can't. I've got this,
no
I'm
worries.
too
Aye.
single. Aye for Sean. Yeah. So, Aaron,
Aye.
Ellen,
No.
and I'm a reluctant no. I think a lot of what Donna said, honestly, if it wasn't Donna sitting in this room making the point she made, I'd have been a hard yes, because I'd like getting the new person in. But as you came into the meeting with those suggestions, with those comments, it makes me hope you'll stay involved on the override side at least.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I stepped out of moderator because I needed my life back.
Yeah.
That was a bit much, to say the
Yeah.
least. But I plan on staying involved.
Good.
I hope that the committee as a group reaches out in a substantive way to that very big population, because me and my peers,
Yeah,
their overwhelming thing, no matter where we are and what we're talking about, is I don't want to pay more taxes.
Right.
And I don't care why.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a hard
Yeah.
sell.
So,
It's gonna be a very hard sell.
thanks. And Sean, Sean has won. It was 4-2. So, thank you, Sean. Good luck. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Donna?
Congratulations. Have fun.
Okay. Do you guys want to adjourn now? We have, I'm sorry, what was that?
Remember to use the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, school committee, do you want to adjourn now, since there's nothing else on the warrant that concerns you, I guess?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, we'll adjourn.
All right. And you've got our date for, yeah, so, all right, thank you. All right, school
right.
committee is,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to count that as an official adjournment. All right, we got a couple more appointments, then we're going to move on to our next item. So let's do the next ones, which should be a little easier. We have the appointing of planning board member. And there has been one,
I heard that. I heard that.
yeah, one person has graciously volunteered, unfortunately, somebody else that I know. So Jim McKay has volunteered to fill an interim planning board position through the annual meeting, created by the resignation of Josh, and I shouldn't have started the name until I could get the last one pronounced. What? Guerrero. Josh Guerrero has stepped down. Jim McKay has volunteered to fill that position. So, need a motion on that, Ellen. You have your sheet.
Oh, hold on.
Do we have any members of the planning?
Oh, is there anybody of the planning board here?
Nicole is supposed to be here, but I do not see her.
Getting a little worried about Nicole not being here either.
Yeah. that's-
Okay. Go ahead.
I move that we appoint Jim McKay as interim member of the planning board through the May annual town election to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Josh Guerrero.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Jim McKay to fill the vacancy on the planning board. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have the ratification of a payroll administrator.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the finance director is here. As the board knows, we've been working very hard to fill this very important position. It's not
Yes.
not an easy position to fill, so
Right.
I think
Yeah.
we're fortunate to have a highly qualified candidate that we've interviewed, and I'll let the finance director talk a little bit about that.
Right. So in your package, you got my memo that the position was advertised internally and externally. There were no internal candidates and over 20 external applications were received, with 4 applicants being selected for first-round interviews. From the first-round interviews, 2 very qualified candidates were selected for second-round interview. I am recommending Mary Montione for the position of payroll administrator. Mary has worked for the Natick Retirement System, processing retiree payroll, and for the City of Attleboro using Munis payroll modules. Mary is highly regarded by her former supervisors, and her references were excellent. She's a great team player and easy to work with. I believe that Mary will be a terrific addition to the finance team for the town of Millis, and she will bring new ideas and insights to the finance office.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd be requesting that the board vote to approve my appointment of Mary Montione to the position of payroll administrator. And Mary is here this evening.
Hello, Mary.
Aye.
I was almost looking for a payroll administrator. I just filled one.
You may not steal her.
Yeah, no, wouldn't want to go down to Quincy, would you? No.
No.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, so, all right. Thank you. We're making a motion now. We're almost official.
I move that the board vote to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Mary Montione as payroll administrator, subject to a successful physical result.
Yes,
Second.
Successful physical.
Oh, physical.
sorry. Did say result, sorry.
Oh,
Second.
she seconded it.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just striking
Yes, she
the
already has
superfluous
a.
word.
She already has a quote.
All right,
so you're all set
it's
to
been
go
moved and
there.
seconded to appoint Mary Montione to payroll administrator position, subject to a successful physical.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's been moved and seconded and passed unanimously. All right, next we have an.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
was gonna say,
thank you.
Mary, when do you-
Congratulations and welcome.
When is Mary's first day? I just wanted to ask. Sorry.
August 21st.
August 21st. Excellent. We'll see you soon then.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, next we have one appointment to the Economic Development Committee. This will run through June 30th, 2024. We're going to be appointing Jonathan Sussman. He came to one of our meetings, apparently liked it and decided he'd like to serve on the committee. So this is our appointment. We're not ratifying the town
Okay,
administrators.
ready?
I'm set.
I should pre-read these.
Yes, you should.
Sorry.
I move that we appoint Jonathan Sussman as a member of the Economic Development Committee through June 30th, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Jonathan Sussman, a member of the Economic Development Committee, through June 30th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass unanimously. And the last one is to appoint to ratify the town administrator's appointment to the election worker. This is one we missed,
Yes.
so.
I'd be requesting that the board appoint or ratify my appointment of Donna Cabibbo as an election worker retroactive to May 1st, 2023.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
I move that the board vote to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Donna Cabibbo as an election worker retroactive to 5/1/23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Donna Cabibbo as an election worker retroactive to 5/1/23. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay.
It is 7:30, Mr. Chairman.
Would we like to go to the hearing first, or do you want to just continue down the list? What time was our hearing scheduled for?
7:30.
Okay. So we should start the hearing now, and we'll come back to the other ones. All right, so we're going to jump ahead to the dangerous dog, Bentley muzzle order. Do we need to make a motion to open the hearing?
Yes,
No.
that's you.
23-162.
I move that the board
We're in a
votes
hard
to
time.
enter into the hearing for consideration of a dangerous dog,
That's the right one.
Yeah.
dog muscle order for Bentley.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to open the hearing for the dangerous dog muzzle order for Bentley. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so the hearing has started, and if you recall, a little background, we had a meeting, the dog hearing a few months back, where we had determined that Bentley had bitten somebody in a serious enough way to move towards the euthanasia. The owner has appealed, and it is now in court. Interim period, we needed to put a muzzle order and a leash order on the dog to keep people safe in the neighborhood in the interim while that's under appeal. And that's what this hearing's about right now. So having said that, should I swear people in if they want to speak?
Yes, if
Yeah.
anyone is here to speak to the facts in the matter.
If you'd like to speak to the facts in the matter, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. They don't give you this on the script anywhere. I affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter of Bentley, the dog. Thank you. We need to write that out next time.
Actually, I just need your names. I'm sorry. I just need your name.
Sure, Karen Carlson, and it's spelled a little unusually, it's with a K and two S's, so Karlsso.
Okay, thank you.
Judy Carlson, Carlson.
Oh, you're trying to confuse me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know. Patrick Fuller, thank you.
And we have one more back
One
there.
more, Karen.
Paul D. Miller, thank you, Paul.
All right. This is,
I'm not sure if I'm going to get it, but Deb Shepherd.
Okay.
Thank you.
all right, so I'm going to call our animal control officer up, and she can bring us up to speed where things stand, I guess. We've gotten quite a bit of feedback from various lawyers and such about this, so.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please, bring us up to speed.
So right now, we are in the process, like you said, of appeal, and we are waiting for the magistrate for his ruling. So
Okay.
that's where we stand right now.
And in the interim, you had issued an order for the muzzle and leash?
Yes, a temporary order, and I'm asking tonight that it become permanent.
Okay.
Right, and Mr. Chairman, I think it's the case that the attorney for the dog owner has said that they do not contest the
Correct.
muzzle order.
Okay.
So as long, with the one condition or the one caveat that, let's see, that the order will remain in effect until all appeals of the select board's
Right.
order to euthanize have been completed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Jim's pointing. Oh, okay. Okay, basically, he was saying that the attorney's not contesting this order. The order would remain into effect until all appeals are exhausted or the order from the select board has been overturned. So, and then we can take further action at that point if we need to on something else. So having said that, I'm going to bring anybody else who'd like to speak up to the microphone on the podium. Would anybody else like to speak to this issue? Yes. Go ahead. We'll work our way back. Front row first.
Front row first. You can go right
You
up
go
to
right
you
up there.
here, or you can
Yeah.
sit next to Erin. Either one.
Sorry, I wasn't here last time. I just wrote out a few words, just, in case. I would like to just express in my own opinion, the severity and nature of this situation and the liability the town of Millis has in this case. I just want to say my name is Patrick Fuller, and, again, thank you for letting me speak tonight. As an aside, I have love dogs. Dog's part of my family. I love him with all my soul. And I love his soul. I truly understand why all of this is a huge discussion and a topic that can be hard, divisive, whatnot. In regards to this incident, you probably already spoke to this last time, I hope. And I hope the lawyers have also taken this into account. Just a little history of the Cane Corso breed, right? Lineage goes back to ancient Rome. They're a bodyguard dog. They're bred to have independent minds of their own. They're not pushovers to raise and train. Cane Corsos are a dominant breed. It's a powerful dog that may be difficult to walk on a leash. Cane Corso's temperament reflects its long use as a guardian and a warrior. Thus, the breed is not particularly trusting of strangers, nor is it very friendly towards other dogs or animals. When provoked, it can be fearsome. Due to the Cane Corso's strength and determination, it is not an ideal dog for children or senior citizens or someone who is not prepared to take care of a dog. Cane Corso's jaw is powerful and designed to bite and hold on to its prey and intruders. Its jaws are designed to deliver a crushing blow. The Cane Corso has one of the strongest dog bites in the world. As you probably already know, I hope this has been discussed already, the bite force is a PSI is somewhere around 700. That means that their bite exerts 700 pounds of force on every square inch of whatever it's biting. That's higher than an average lion's bite. The human body can withstand about 50 PSI. So Cane Corso's PSI bite is about 700. A human can withstand 50. The U.S. Navy's deepest submarines are able to survive about 700 PSI of pressure, similar to the same bite force as a Cane Corso. 700 PSI is right between the bite force of a lion and a grizzly bear. In regards to this specific incident, the question or debate of utilizing a leash or in a muzzle, I think seems to have missed the point. In my humble opinion, a muzzle and leash should have been utilized since the first day our neighbor had acquired this dog, especially knowing the history of this dog and understanding that this particular dog has a record of a previous
I'm
bite.
sorry, Patrick, I'm going to interrupt for just one moment. We had our hearing about that. This board decided 2 to 3
euthanize.
to euthanize the animal.
Great.
The homeowner appealed that.
Yep.
So now we are left with 2 options. While this is under appeal, we can say, great, let's let it run free, or we can put whatever we can up into non-lethal until the appeal
May
is
I continue?
exhausted. I'm just letting you know where we stand, because everything you've said we know and we're aware of, and that's why we voted to put the dog down. So now we have 2 choices, either put no restraints on it or put the legal restraints that we can, which are leash and
I don't think a
muzzle.
muzzle and a leash is enough.
I tend
Let
to
me-
agree with you, but that is our legal constraints now because it's under appeal.
Would you like me to stop talking?
Well, you can continue on, but I mean, you're preaching to the choir up here on this one. Yeah. And our hands are tied because it's under appeal.
Okay, so
yeah.
just to make sure that the
Yeah.
resident of 6 Concord Circle prior to this particular incident had dogs under her care, off leash at times wandering the neighborhood with little to no supervision. We all know this?
We do.
Right?
Yeah.
The ability to control her dog's actions she does not have. Our neighbor has consistently irresponsibly and neglectful in terms of the responsibility needed to properly oversee the well-being and safety of these dogs. I consider our neighborhood the streets of Lexington, Ticonderoga, and Farm Street. And, you know, they all utilize this neighborhood. They all utilize it for walking and little kids. We all probably talked about this. I'm sorry if it's going over stuff that we've talked about before. Exercising, running, little kids, babies, right? Cane Corso bite can be fatal. This the owner, right? Have anybody seen the fence?
Again, no. The issue is, we put in the euthanasia order.
Great.
And this is now a leash and a muzzle order to keep it at least at that level.
I'm
If
telling you,
ever-
I am
Yeah.
worried, and I'll continue.
I'm terrified. I'm going to
Terrified.
stop you because you're just going over what we already know, and I don't think there's a reason to go through that again. I will say, once we vote this order, which we have no choice to do, again, our choices are nothing or leash and muzzle order. If you see this dog loose, without a leash, without a muzzle, those are ors. If you see this dog loose, or without a leash, or without a muzzle, call the police, call the animal control, and we can put it down then.
Here's my
Yeah,
situation.
Yeah,
And I have little kids.
yeah.
The day previous to this, we had a birthday party.
Yep.
With 10, 12-year-olds and a 6-year-old running around my neighborhood free, right?
Yeah,
The day before, same time as the bite the next day.
yeah.
Horrifying.
And again.
Right now, this dog comes out at night. Everybody in this room or whoever, all the residents of this neighborhood are asleep. We don't know what's happening in the middle of the night. That dog is housed inside, I believe, all day long until the middle of the night. And then it might be taken out. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great life for a dog, especially a Cane Corso that needs to move about, right? And so I don't know what's happening at night. I don't know if it has a muzzle, and I don't have a leash. I think it's upon the town of Millis to check in on this dog, not the residents of 5 Concord Circle, right? the responsibility should be on the town of Millis. And so police should be checking, and everybody should be looking out for the citizens and residents of this town.
Well,
Because if something happens in the middle of the night, it's not only going to be a dog without a muzzle, it's going to be someone's injured, and this town is going to be liable.
Well, again, I will tell you,
Thank you.
we did vote to put the dog down. There's nothing you're saying that I disagree with at all. Our animal control officer has two towns to cover, so she can't be there all the time. Our police do drive by, she does drive by. But really, the best defense is if you see it out, call us. We will pick it up. Yeah.
It's in the middle of the night.
Again, well, there's two choices, I guess. Do you want us to rescind the muzzle and leash order, or do you want us to put that in place? Because we can't do anything other than that. Those are our two choices. So if you're and you can say you want us to put it down as much as you want, we voted to do that. We can't just drive over there and put that dog down. There's a court process it has to go through. And she elected to exercise her legal right to an appeal. If this goes through and it is not put down, if the courts overturn our decision, we will have to go further, which will be those pins in the backyard, it'll be the leash, it'll be the muzzle. I'll ask a question. Can we mandate the pin in the backyard right now at this point too?
Not at this point.
Okay.
We would have to appeal,
Yeah.
we'd have to go for a whole appeal after.
Yeah, so we're
all that.
limited because of the way the courts are set up to what we can do. I agree. I don't think it's a safe situation over there with this dog. I agree with you. I'm not being, yeah. Well, wait.
When they have to
Yeah.
walk to this bus stop,
Yeah.
they're not gonna, they don't even want
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think that when she has her court hearing, if there's public testimony allowed, I think you need to talk to the court about that too. So, would you like to say something, sir?
A couple of things. I was here at the first one.
Yeah.
I'm Paul Miller. I live across from her. All right? My grandkids are petrified, and I know you can't do anything.
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
the way it's restrained. I thought we originally said that, we had to do something with a fence or, and everything. But that didn't go into the first cut-through. I didn't realize we couldn't say that.
Those were the options given, so
Yeah.
the 6 recommendations that I had listed originally, those are generally what happens in a particular circumstance with a dangerous dog. Should that owner be able to comply with those restrictions? At this point, the board did not feel, I did not feel that that was a good recommendation. So the board opted for euthanasia, thinking that was the safest for the residents. That being said, those options are not, that's not an option because the dog is set to be euthanized.
Right now, it's either euthanize a dog or chain it. Chain and muzzle is all we're asking for till it goes through the appeal.
That's right. She has the legal right to appeal under
Yeah.
the court process.
And why weren't the people involved in this aware that they were having a hearing outside of this board?
What do you
When
mean
the
the people that
magistrate,
were?
when the magistrate
appeal,
and lawyers
talking about the
met,
appeal,
why weren't we allowed to go listen or contribute? They supposedly had, from what I understand, a transcript of what took place here. And whether that transcript is reflective of what actually happened, I don't know. I didn't see the transcript, and I assume it is, but the Millis lawyer didn't have it. The defense lawyer had it, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, I can say about that is this wasn't a trial.
Oh, I understand that, but they treated it like why didn't they notify the abutters?
It's not a public hearing.
No
Yeah.
obligation, if she appealed it, there's no obligation for her to notify the abutters.
Will we be available or be willing, if, say it goes beyond this to a trial, will they notify the abutters then?
I don't know how the court system works on that. I know what our role is in it, and we took the most extreme step we could. And we did what we thought was right. And the fact that it's legal to appeal it, I have no idea how that goes. This is the first one I've ever had appealed. It's the second one I've ever done. So I'm
So,
50-50.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, certainly through our town council that's leading this on behalf of the town, we'll be working with them, and once it does reach a point where there is a trial in a court, our council will be working with my office as well as the ACO.
Yeah.
And we'll be outreaching to the neighbors that have been affected. We have your names here from your
Yeah.
testimony today. And certainly, that could be very helpful
Yeah.
in any type of a hearing in front of a judge. So we will certainly.
If there is, let's leave it there, that if there is a place for witnesses to testify, those that we have the names from this hearing, the last hearing, we'll notify via mail or however the right
Yeah,
appropriate
we'll
way to
reach
do
out.
it. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add that both lawyers on both sides were given all of the documentation. They had the minutes for the meeting, they have the video for the meeting, they have the letter that went out, so they do have everything.
we have a transcript on legal, on visual that we can read?
Is that,
From transcript.
What was said here? I
Oh.
want to know,
you can
Well,
look
it's
at the
on- you can
minutes,
watch
the
the
minutes,
video
of
on
the whole video
We have a
online.
full video of the meeting.
Yeah, we have minutes and the
Because we
whole
don't keep a
video.
verbatim transcript, we keep minutes, but
We don't have,
Well-
a
9-minute transcript, I understand.
well, they might have taken that from the video. But
Yeah.
that wouldn't have been the town. Well, that wouldn't have been the town. The town doesn't have a stenographer at its public
I
hearings.
understand they gave the magistrate a transcript.
If I
Yeah,
may.
please.
That was just the hearing itself, the link, that what
It
was
was written up,
televised, what
correct.
was
Yeah,
on
okay.
Zoom. Yeah, that was just the actual hearing.
so they watched the video?
Yes,
So they watched the video, which is available on Millis
community media.
Community Media. Some of my finest moments.
And
so
it's, I was
how
going to say, and it's
immortalized there.
also available on our website. if
On
they want
YouTube,
that,
yeah.
on, well, from the Zoom recording is
Yeah,
available as
on
well.
YouTube, yeah.
So It's
Okay.
anywhere you want to find it.
So, any other public comment? Yeah, please.
Judy Carlson, budding neighbor.
Yeah.
And I was actually attended the magistrates meeting on Thursday. There were eight people, and it was kind of happenstance. I was in the right place at the right time. I went to the courtroom because having gotten the letter about tonight, I didn't understand, and the neighbors didn't understand what was happening. So my assumption was that an appeal had been made, and the dog had, I know that the dog is remaining in the home. And I have a dog also, and I let my dog out late at night, and I know that this dog is out in the yard with its owner. Is it muzzled? I wouldn't be able to tell you. I can't see. It's pitch black. Sometimes there'll be a headlight. I'm pretty sure the dog is roaming, but I can't prove it. As far as containment, it's like chicken wire that extends from her house, and it ends rolled up, leaning on my fence. So I can't even access my, the other outside of my fence because I would be in her territory. And then a corner has a wagon wheel leaning on her shed and my gate. So there's really no containment. So, I know the dog is out at night.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question to the Animal Control Officer. Aaron?
Yes.
Is the dog required to be leashed and muzzled even in the backyard?
Yes, at all,
Okay.
as soon as it leaves the dwelling.
So I'm going to strongly urge you, if you see or suspect that dog is in the backyard without a leash or muzzle, call the police. Call 911. No, do
I'm a
it.
next
You
door
can-
owner, and
You can
it's.
either call 911 or stop complaining about a dangerous dog in the neighborhood, because we cannot put it down until the appeal's
I know.
exhausted. We can't, but we can put it down if it violates this order. So if you're serious about this, call 911 when the dog's in the backyard, and we can deal with it right now. Otherwise, it's going to go through the court, it's going to go through the appeals, and I can't promise you that dog will not be in the house, and I cannot enforce a fence in the backyard that's safe enough for that
I
dog.
know.
So that's your choices.
Yeah.
You can be a good neighbor and not call 911 and roll the dice, or you
Which I
can
do.
do what you have to do to try to protect your neighborhood.
I came home just
Yeah.
before this meeting, and this, the owner was actually mowing most of my lawn,
Yeah.
which has never happened before.
Well, I'm just
And
telling
I
you,
think
we
she
have
thinks,
done
you
everything
know,
we can do in our
I mean, how
power to
can
put
you-
this dog down. So if you,
Yeah.
so it's, it's up to you to protect your own neighborhood as best you can too. We will send the police over. Well, I won't. You'll call 911. The police will go over.
Yeah.
If the dog is without a leash and a muzzle,
Yeah.
the animal control officer can get involved again. That's a violation of our order.
Okay, a leash is not a chain.
Now, the,
I thought it was a chain and muzzle.
It's states specifically on that order, I believe, like 3 feet in length.
A 3-foot length chain, leash, a 3-foot length leash.
So it isn't an extendable lease.
It's got to be 3
3
feet
foot.
long, yeah.
That's it. So, right, anything other than that is
Yeah.
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
if
can
you see the
honestly
dog
say
out-
that I don't believe I could ever call 911 on my neighbor.
Okay, all right, well, we
But-
voted to put the dog
I
down.
know, I
And
know.
we made a very hard decision to try to protect your neighborhood. It's very
know.
unpopular. And if something happens there, we've done everything we legally
Yes, you
can.
have.
So it is now back on your neighborhood to help us enforce this law as best we can. We do
Right.
have police drive-bys, we do have animal control officer drive-bys.
Right.
But they're not there all the time. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. All right, I'm going to close the public here, I'll take a motion to close the hearing. Ellen, that's you again?
Second.
Nope.
Oh. I move that the board votes to close the hearing for consideration of a dangerous dog muzzle order for Bentley.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for the dangerous dog hearing muzzle order for Bentley. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the hearing is now closed, and now we have the last motion.
I
Yeah.
move that the board approves a muzzle and restraint order on Bentley, which will remain in effect until all appeals of the select board's order to euthanize have been completed.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the muzzle and restraint order on Bentley, which will remain into effect until all appeals of the select board order to euthanize have been completed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks. All right, thank you. And I really wish we could do more, but that's as far as we can go. But you know 911, that's the number, okay?
I know, you'll call me. Judy, you call him. I call 911.
All right. Now we'll go back to something really exciting. I'm sure this is the main reason most of us are here, the bond anticipation note.
All right, you've been waiting all day.
Jen,
I
make it
have. I like
exciting,
bond
make it exciting,
anticipation
Jen.
notes.
I'm sure the treasurer collector is very excited to hear that,
Yeah.
that appeal
Interesting.
discussion.
So I'm Jen Scannell, treasurer collector for the town. Once again, I am here for a bond anticipation note renewal. It's for $1,470,000. It's comprised of two items. The first one is $1 million, which is the purchase of the property located at 377 Village Street, and the remaining is $470,000, which is for the design, construction, and furnishing of the new Clyde Brown, or the existing Clyde Brown Elementary School. So the winning bidder was Oppenheimer, with a weighted average of interest cost at 3.9827. The maturity is a year, 8/15/24. At the time, interest will be due of $65,598.75. And I'm asking the board to sign the following documents listed on the memo. And there's a suggested motion at the end of the memo, if you'd like to read that. So I'm just looking for the board to approve the bond anticipation note.
Okay, how long is, I'm sorry, when will this
It's a
be
year.
permanently bonded? Will it be done at that
Well,
time?
so
or
it
will-
depends. There's two things we're waiting for. The $1 million purchase of the land, until the town determines a future use for the property, it's not in the best interest to permanently finance.
Because it's financing options?
Yeah, because right now it would be tax exempt, but if we sell it for private use, then it
Yeah.
would switch to non-tax exempt, and there'd be tax consequences involved. It could be hefty to the town. So we really need to determine the future use of that land sooner than later.
Okay,
Otherwise, we could still make, principal pay downs on it up to 10 years on a short-term note.
Yeah.
So,
And
and the
does this-
remaining 470 is for the school.
yeah.
Which, probably Mike or the Permanent Building Committee can speak to that further, but the final closeout, actually, I think you were on the board too, right? The final closeout.
Not on that board anymore.
Oh, okay. So the final closeout for the Clyde Brown has still yet to be completed with the Massachusetts School
Okay.
Building Authority. There was a delay in 2021 because of the landscaping. That pushed it to the spring of 2021, then COVID hit, and essentially the board was shut down.
Yeah.
And so they're hoping to get this final closeout in October, but believe me, it's been pushed for the last year, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But once they figure out the final closeout, all the final numbers will come in, and then we can determine if this 470 needs to be permanently financed, or if we
Okay.
can just pay it down.
Okay, thank you. So I'll need a motion on that.
Karen, is this motion 23-160?
Yes.
Yes.
I move that the board vote to adopt the board, I move that the board vote.
To adopt the vote.
Prepared by
I
bond
move
counsel.
that the board adopt the vote prepared by bond, Karen.
These were done at the last minute.
I
Ellen.
move that the board adopt the vote prepared by bond counsel in connection with the sale and approval of the town's August bond anticipation. note.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the vote prepared by bond counsel in connection with the sale and approval of the town's August bond anticipation note. This is basically to finance the bond anticipation note.
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Told you it was
Thank you.
exciting.
All right,
Thank
good luck.
you.
All right.
Here he comes.
Now, we know that you were really here for this.
Yeah, even more.
I thought our big moment with you is when we appointed you to
Yeah,
the planning board. Okay.
Can he share?
Just join the Zoom meeting.
Join the Zoom and
Join
you
the
should be
Zoom.
able
That's
to.
how you do it. Sorry.
I'm not online.
Oh,
Oh, that's all right, and they have them.
we have them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have them.
Okay, then
So-
I can just walk through.
Well, Peter's getting set up. Peter Varga is from Kleinfelder. He's our engineer in charge of our stormwater filings and everything. Peter's been with us for at least your third year with us with Millis. He presented in the past 2 years. The reason why we do it separately, I mean, this is a little bit more of an ask. I mean, we're asking for you to approve $107,000 tonight for filings and different aspects of the stormwater management. Again, a good part of stormwater management through the EPA is through filings and testing and education. That's what stormwater's right now is about. So Peter does have a slide deck that he can walk through. There's 7 of them, and if you have any questions, and then we'll talk about the money when you're done.
Perfect.
Apologize for not being connected. Maybe you could follow on your printed
we've got
slides. Okay. Yeah, so on the second page, I believe a colleague of mine was here recently to review kind of what we've done in this past year, and these are the major activities that we embarked upon this past year that speak to the compliance of the annual permit. And there's a lot of acronyms. Regulators and engineers love acronyms, so this is the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Municipal Separate Stormwater Sewer System that is within Millis that we're talking about. So those activities had to do with filing the annual report, which must be done annually, the stormwater management plan update, which we did, and then the illicit discharge detection and elimination program. We submitted the updated plan last year. We progressed the public outreach and education program, embarked on an ordinance review and update process, and that will be carried forward this year. And the main focus of last year was really the phosphorus control plan, which was relatively new for the permit. All communities in the Charles River are required to write a PCP. And this is really the first time within this multi-year permit that numbers start to be part of the factor. And so there was a real big focus on getting Millis's plan set up to account for the phosphorus coming off of various catchments and what the town is doing to actually mitigate that phosphorus, to collect points that could be demonstrated to the regulatory agencies as complying with the phosphorus removal requirements for Millis. So this year, moving on to slide 3, we are going to focus on continuing and implementing that phosphorus plan, but there is, what we did last year as part of the IDDE update is we made a calendar schedule. There's 162 stormwater catchments in Millis, and we tried to break that down into workable intervals where we could splice out through the remainder of this permit term, which goes through 2028, how much work needs to be done on that system yearly. And what I mean is just there's systematic inspections that have to occur on the sewer network. And those are designed to, assess the condition, assess issues that, if there's flooding happening, what is going on inside the pipes that might be causing that? Are there illegal connections to the system of sewer and other non-stormwater related activities that shouldn't be there? So there's going to be a focus on that. A result of the sort of planning that we did last year, we determined that there needs to be a pretty heavy field effort this year on conducting those inspections. So we've made room for that in this year's budget. We're also going to be bringing forward some suggestions on ordinance updating, which is also a requirement of the permit to demonstrate Millis's efforts on updating their ordinances to allow for green development, low-impact development, and try to account for stormwater quality and quantity. And then elements of the phosphorus control plan that will continue this year. I'll go into that a little bit the next slide. Public education and outreach, as Jim mentioned, is going to be always something that will be a repeated effort yearly. We plan to do that. And this year, there's also the addition of stormwater pollution prevention plans, which are major municipally owned facilities, mainly the DPW yard and the transfer station, have a stormwater pollution prevention plan. We're going to be kind of dusting those off, conducting annual trainings to do properly, comply inspections for those facilities to make sure that we can tick off that box in this year's annual report as well. So those are the main items for implementing this MS4 effort this year. This next slide, number 4, is a major part of this program. For all communities in the Charles River, Millis is required to account for its phosphorus runoff from these catchments. And based on the sort of proactiveness of the town in subsequent years leading up to now, we think that Millis is in compliance already with phase 1, which brings us to 2028. Now, there's about 50 BMPs in town. These are best management practice structures, and I have a photo of one on the right-hand side, which is basically a nice rain garden. It's just an example of what the EPA refers to as a BMP, another acronym. But each of these structures will gain Millis points towards compliance. And so we have to document, get information on each one, and we'll be working with Jim to collect that information to demonstrate operation and maintenance plans, design details, and actually account for the phosphorus that these structures are treating. So that will be a big effort as part of the phosphorus control plan this year. So it's really the inspections and the continued implementation of the phosphorus plan. In addition to that, there's a stormwater utility support, which we'll be separately embarking on as we did last year. And the focus of this year's effort is to really sort of build in some capacity with the town. We hope that next year our role in this will be smaller. But this year we'd like to have some extra coordination up front so that, the biggest challenge with managing this is the data and the way the data comes in and how to manage that data, how to deal with inconsistencies. So that's one thing that we'll be doing, is really having some coordination between the town's various vendors to do this, to make sure that roles and responsibilities are very clear. The town is evaluating NearMap, which is a mapping program that helps to account for annual changes in impervious surface, which is, of course, a very important aspect of this project. So we'll be assisting with the evaluation of NearMap and its integration into GIS system and the town systems as well as part of this. And then we'll be migrating databases to a shared database so that there can be efficiencies in editing and formatting, so that the various people that are involved can get their hands on this simultaneously. I think that'll really facilitate the effort this year. And then we'll be, of course, updating impervious area calculations for individual parcels. We'll be going out to individual properties and field checking where required. We'll try to minimize that. Those are the major aspects of implementing the stormwater utility for this year. And then if you turn to the 6th slide, we're asking just upwards of $100,000 for the MS4 investigatory work, and $21,500 for the utility support So, this year. Looking ahead, just to slide number 7, there are changes that are coming to the MS4 permit this year. EPA is currently drafting a new permit. So we don't know, we don't have a crystal ball, but we think that the biggest impact is going to be on phosphorus planning, so there will be continued revisions to that moving forward as a result. There's also a residual designation authority that is going to apply to large commercial properties that will have to do a better job of accounting for their stormwater quality and quantity at the end. So some unpredictability coming, but we will, deal with that when it comes, and I think that's why this year, really the effort is going to be heavy on the IDDE and inspections, where we're just doing accounting work for the phosphorus part of this project. And, we'll see what the permit says, but we'll be ready to, what we've set up so far, I think we'll be ready to apply whatever changes the EPA has to the tools that we've established so far in implementing this. So some unpredictability coming due to a new permit, but, we think we have some idea of where some of those changes are going to be.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions?
If I may, just for clarification, so the board is approving the 107,000?
That's correct.
This evening? Okay.
Yeah, I'll quickly
That's just the total
address
for the
that.
MS4, right?
Yeah, so I think that to highlight a couple of things that Peter, stated, Peter knows a lot more about this than I do, but after listening to him, industry owners need to know this. This is coming your way.
Yeah.
All of this reporting is coming your way. What we're doing, you're going to have to be doing in the very, very near future. That's the regular mom and pop store that owns, less than 2-3 acres. We are going to be looking at, maybe for November, coming back to the board with changing of the bylaw. And it's bylaw changes that won't have to go to town meeting, but you can do it as the commissioners of stormwater. We will be, we've already gone to the Board of Health with some of the, and we'll be going to the planning board with some of them too, because it will be how things are going to be built, in the town very shortly. And that's part of the plan. That's part of their new EPA planning. So the reason why we asked for 107,002, I asked Peter to come up with, at the maximum. We've never spent all of this every year, but I ask it because, as you can see, it's broken down, and that's for me and Lisa, for billing and purposes, that I work with Lisa more and, how we get it billed out. So these are at maximum, so that's why it says not to exceed 107,002. If we get to a point, we'll have to come back and ask for that $21,000 for, because there was little pools of money in there. That's why, Peter's correct with the slide of 120-something thousand. But when we look at this and there's a letter, I think you saw his breakdown in the letter of the 107. That's what we're going to, we're asking for the board to approve.
Okay, perfect. So we'll need a motion on that.
That's 161.
Yeah.
She has it
I move
circled.
that the board, I do have it circled and underlined. I move that the board approve the agreement with Kleinfelder for the purpose of fiscal year 24 stormwater support services in an amount not to exceed $107,002.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement with Kleinfelder for stormwater support services for FY '24, not to exceed 107,002. Somebody doesn't like rounding. Okay. All right, I've never
Way to
seen a
Carol
not
see-
to
way
exceed
to
that
Carol sees
precise.
that.
Yeah.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
And I'll be
Thanks.
back.
All right. All right. Okay, well, we're,
I was gonna say, I don't know if you want to take, Ted should be quick, I think.
Yeah, Ted, get him up here.
yeah, we're going to do Ted quick.
I was like, I think
because-
Ted's gonna be
yeah.
quick, right, Ted?
And if you're
Ted's
not
quick.
quick, Ted, we're going to kick you out
Trying
and
to
move
help
on
you.
and make
Ted's
you watch
quick.
more.
Quick.
No problem.
We'll schedule another stormwater here in front of you.
that's right.
This one's exciting, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Drainage easements.
Thrilling, yeah. Thank you very much, members of the board. Edward Cannon on behalf
Yes.
of TD Development, the developer of Emerson Place. We're just here tonight to have the board consider and hopefully approve and sign the drainage easements that go with the subdivision. This is the easements to gather the stormwater runoff from the road and the detention basins. Just briefly, there is a homeowners association in place that will be caring for these, but as part of the approval process, this is sort of a backstop, so if something happens and they don't do that, the town has rights, through easement rights, to get in there and fix things if the association doesn't do it. So this has been approved by town council, it's been signed by the ownership, so I do have an original, and if it's approved by the board, I've just asked that the board sign as well, and then I'll take this and record it as part of the conditions of the subdivision approval.
Does any group other than us need to review and sign off? DPW, planning board, anybody, or are we the final arbitrators on this?
You're
Just
the,
you.
you're the one,
Okay.
so.
Questions? Comments? Motions?
No, I think I'm good.
You think you're good?
I think so.
All right.
I guess where is it?
Yeah, this should go through council.
Yeah, it went through council, 23-165.
Yep. I asterisk this one.
Yeah.
I move that the board vote to approve and accept the non-exclusive drainage easement for Emerson Place Development LLC pursuant to GLC, Chapter 83, Section 4, dated February 2019, as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the non-exclusive drainage easement for Emerson Place, dated February 2019, as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you very much.
I'll keep that, yeah. You can pick that. And then once it's recorded, you'll give us a copy of the,
I'll send you a report.
okay, perfect.
All right,
Perfect.
now we'll
Thank
move to
you.
complete streets. So,
Thank you very much.
thanks.
Complete streets.
All right. All right, Bob, you have slides for this on something? Okay, perfect.
Slides.
Well, PowerPoint,
I
yeah.
might have to put my glasses on.
I'm just the AV guy on this one.
And by the way, this will also serve as my committee's attended
Oh,
report.
oh, really?
Is your what?
We have to talk about our liaison to
I think it should
committees.
serve as all three of
So
us.
this is what we talked about.
This is your report.
Is the next two items,
Yeah.
are you pulling this?
Sorry, I
up,
knew
or-
Ted would be quick, that's why I
you
pulled
wanna
him
be-
up. I
I'm
knew-
sorry?
I knew Ted was gonna be like 3 minutes.
No,
why
that's
I
fine
pulled
with
him
me.
up. I figured,
That's fine.
get him out of the way. Thank you.
Good evening. Nicole Riley, Chair of the Economic Development Committee. The first thing we have up for you this evening is an update on the Millis Complete Streets program. As you may recall, in April of '22, this board adopted the Millis Complete Streets policy for those people that are in rapture at home. The Complete Street policy recognizes that all municipal road repairs, upgrades, and expansion projects are potential opportunities to incorporate complete street elements with the goal of providing and/or enhancing safety, accessibility, and serviceability for all users, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, commercial, and emergency vehicles. That is our official policy. In fall of '22, after the adoption of this policy, we established a municipal project team that worked with our consultant Beta Engineering, and we identified 20 potential projects in town that could possibly qualify for the Mass DOT Complete Streets Funding Program. In June, the Economic Development Committee met with Police Chief Chris Fire Chief Rick Barrett, and our DPW Director, Jim McKay. We went through the Beta's technical report. We reviewed current road conditions, site distance issues, accident and safety information for each project, and we've created a prioritization plan. So then I will quickly go over the 5 projects that we have listed for our priority as part, the next step of the Complete Street process is for us to submit this 5-point prioritization plan. So if you can go to slide 2, please.
It always works. Hold on a minute. There we go.
So the first, our top priority is Himmelfarb Street, Acorn Street, and Village Street intersection. One of the main reasons we have chosen this is because according to our safety reports from our police and fire chiefs, this is the most dangerous intersection in the town. There are the greatest number of injuries and fatalities at this intersection, mostly because, according to the police chief, people coming either from Himmelfarb or Acorn Street don't even realize, half the time, don't realize Village Street is there. And they shoot, or maybe they do and they just don't care, shoot straight across the intersection. So what we have done, you'll see that the green markings on there, those were added by Beta. The light green is just the extension that the committee and our representatives decided we would like to see that intersection squared off. In particular, the northwest and southeast corners where vehicles are coming from those streets, coming to a stop on a village street. We don't want rounded corners. We're pulling the stop lines closer to the intersection, all in an attempt for vehicles to have a better sight line of what's coming on Village Street. We would add stop signs both on Himmelfarb and Acorn Street. And then further, before the intersection on both of those streets, we're proposing for the stop sign head signs, all of these signs that have the beacons that are lit up. And then on both ends of Village Street approaching the intersection, we would have intersection ahead signs. You'll also see at Himmelfarb, by squaring that corner off, we're extending the sidewalks on either side, which would shorten the distance of the sidewalk, making it safer for pedestrians. Any question on this one? That one you can skip, that's basically what I just said.
I think what we'll do is we'll take questions on each of them, if anybody has any particulars, and then we'll move on.
Why don't you
So,
go back to the
any
picture?
questions on
Somebody
on item 1? All right.
Okay.
We can always revisit too, after you see all of them.
There
If you
we go.
really get desiring to go back and see item 1 again, we'll be glad to jump back.
Okay, so now we can go one more. So our second priority is for pedestrian detectable warning panels. Because Complete Streets looks for making our roads more accessible for pedestrians, for bicyclists, for people with handicaps, Main Street 109, we do not have any detectable warning panels. You'll see which are those panels at the crossing roads where there's ramps, and they have the little round raised bubbles, for lack of I don't know what the proper terminology is. And they are to assist anyone that is visually impaired from knowing that they are approaching an intersection. So there are 66 curb crossings along a 2.25 mile route of 109 between Hammond Lane and Bridge Street. So at each one of those ramps, crossing ramps, we would look to have these crossing warning panels installed. Number 3, Middlesex Street and Ridge Street intersection. This holds the same issues that we did with priority number 1 with Himmelfarb Acorn. And you'll see just from the additions, we're looking to pretty much do the exact same thing. Square off the intersection, bring the stop lines further out to Middlesex Street, add stop signs, stop sign ahead signs, intersection ahead signs. Actually, I think I forgot on number 1. On both number 1 and number 3, obviously would be looking to have a lot of the vegetation trimmed back, all to improve sight, the line of sight for cars approaching the intersection from Ridge Street when they're and again, really just creating a situation where vehicles can't make that rolling corner turn to the right. By squaring off the intersection, it requires them to actually come to a stop because they're going to be making more of a right-hand turn.
I just one quick question on this one. I'm surprised about, I'm not surprised about this one, but I'm hearing a lot that the worst intersection in Millis is Middlesex and Orchard. Do you know where I mean? Middlesex?
Yes. That actually, we took this was from the information provided to us by Chief Sophia.
Okay.
Was that Acorn, Himmelfarb, and Village Street has had the greatest number of fatalities.
Okay.
I don't question that intersection is awful. One of the decisions with regards to these two roadway repairs
Right.
have to do with just the accident counts that.
Yeah, but that's what I was here, I mean,
Yeah, that intersection was on the list of 20.
But not on
with
the
regards to the road
right.
repairs, we based it upon really in choosing all of the different
Right.
intersections which are statistically the most dangerous.
I'm
And
wondering.
and there was fatality issues in there, not just fender benders. So the ones that
Oh,
resulted in
maybe.
fatality
I'm
were
also
serious
wondering-
injury.
I'm also wondering how much has to do with just the vegetation.
Yeah.
Well, that, and part of
And
this
how
would
that
include
feeds.
costs for, in money there so that we could, instead of just mowing a lawn,
Right.
have some major vegetation cut back.
Right.
Because I think that's probably the problem with the vast majority of our intersections.
Right.
Other than Main Street. We have,
Yeah,
that's, when you have beautiful country roads.
I agree,
See the signs,
100%.
Yeah.
What?
He said then it's tough to see the signs, yeah. I
It's
know.
true.
Well, and that's, some of the signs are missing, some of the signs are too far back,
Yeah.
or they're set too off. So as you'll see, the placement of the signs that I did onto this, just to say, yes, we want to put signs there. Obviously
Yep.
that's not the exact position of it. But those we would be looking for, again, as part of the repair, it would include new stop signs with the beacons, new stop ahead signs on those two streets, on the side streets, and then on Middlesex and on Village would have the intersection signs
Right.
ahead on, again, with all the beacons.
Okay.
So, one more. So one of the items that Beta came up with was the installation of sidewalks on the west side of Plain Street, going from Main Street all the way to the high school, which logically would make sense since the driveway for the school is on the westbound side.
And the sidewalk currently is
Is
on the
the
other
east-
side.
No, the sidewalk is currently on the westbound side.
The wrong side,
Right, it's on,
correct?
The opposite side of the school.
You're right, I'm backwards. The proposal was to have a new sidewalk on the westbound side. We currently have it on the eastbound side. However, it appears that there are some questions with regards to right-of-way, whether we have enough right-of-way to put sidewalks there. We also, on the westbound side of Plain Street, have 30, 40 trees along Plain Street. The removal of which would be, I'm sure, devastating to a lot of those individuals, and the cost would be huge. It really just, in looking at all of the specifics, would not easily occur. So our proposal was to improve access for our students to get to and from the school, especially when we have half-days where the kids are leaving at noon and all the middle schoolers flock to the middle of town. Repair and improve the sidewalk that's currently there. That would include updating the crossing, the crosswalks, the ramps, at McCabe, at, I always forget the other, Monroe Street, and then at the high school entrance. Having new crosswalks, we currently have 2 of those new crossing signs. We would have one installed at McCabe as well as part of this project. And just make that sidewalk much more accessible. You know, a lot of the kids can walk it. Anybody that has walked it, it is quite a hazard. If you've got kids on bikes, if you have anyone that is handicapped in any way, it's really kind of a dangerous sidewalk. So that's actually the largest of the 5. That would take up the estimate for that is just over 200,000, but that would cover from Main Street all the way to the high school. And then the last of the 5 is the Main Street and Exchange Street intersection improvement. And the goal for this is for pedestrian safety, because currently that sidewalk is approximately 105 feet with no stopping. The island that is there actually is not within the crosswalk. So you'll see on the westbound side of Exchange, the proposal is to extend curbing to add a fairly large grassed area, which would allow for the extension of the sidewalk by approximately 35 feet and would shorten the crosswalk area to approximately 70 feet. We would also extend the island and put the island in the middle of the crosswalk so that pedestrians were only walking halfway across the street and then being able to stop it safely at the island before they continued. And again, turning the street a little bit so that, again, especially for vehicles that are turning right to head west. Sorry, I'm not good with these in west, looking at the pictures.
You're right.
West on 109, again, making it a more squared off intersection so that you don't have that rolling turn. People really have to come to a stop because they're going to be making a full right-hand turn. There is one issue on this that Beta did not realize at the time, is that Niagara does have the driveway there, and you'll see on this picture, it does not, excuse me, it doesn't take into consideration extending the driveway, but obviously that would be something that we would have worked into the plan. So hopefully I'm within my 15 minutes for you.
Did great.
think
So the plan is, and Bob, correct me here, we submit these to the state as part of the Complete Street project. They theoretically fund up to, is it $400,000?
It would be to the state.
Yeah.
$500,000.
$500,000. So they would give us up to $500,000 for construction.
Right.
We would still have to fund the engineering of these. That's our contribution to the project. So they may approve all, they may approve none, but without submitting, we don't have any chance for anything. So that's.
Well, Mr. Chair, we also have the ability that we could submit an application for funding for 1 or 2 projects, because we qualify for up to $500,000 within every 5 years, so potentially. So if we were awarded a project that was $75,000 for year 1, 2 years later, we could go back and apply for 1 or 2 other projects to reach that, as long as we're within that $500,000. It isn't just a once at one, give them everything, because, potentially we're not going to be able to fund the
Right.
design for 5 projects in 1 year.
Oh, right.
So I guess, when do we have to have our suggestions back to you for submittal, or what's the process on this?
These are the projects we'll be submitting. We'll be submitting them in October, and then it'll be up to up to MDOT to do the funding.
Unless we take Nicole's
Yes, we only
approach and
do a
submit
few.
2 of them,
Two,
right.
Yeah.
I guess that's the only decision we have to make. Do we submit them all? Because I think they're all worthwhile projects. I don't think we'd be upset with funding for any of them. or do we want to just roll the dice on number one because it's the most fatalities, and that's all we submit, and that's all we ask for? I'll throw that as a question. I have an opinion, but
I
I'm going
don't
to start
know,
with the
what's-
question.
My opinion would be 1 through 3.
If
That
we
was a
submit
bold-
all 5 and
Yeah.
we don't have, even if they approved all 5, we don't have to take the money all at once, right?
Right.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
So would we still have to resubmit, though, if we don't do them within a year?
If
I don't think so.
we don't, whatever we don't do, we would resubmit for.
We would resubmit.
Unless we found another priority, but we could still submit for that project that
Now,
we
what's the
decided not to
negative,
do.
what's the negative if you submit all 5?
It's if you get approved for all 5.
Yeah.
And we can't afford the engineering costs that
because we have to pay for the design.
Do we already know we can't afford the engineering cost?
It depends on the project.
It depends on the project, and it
All
depends, we'd have to submit, I believe, Mike, an RIP, an RIF, whatever it's called. That's not my, and,
think
you know,
that, yeah.
find out what you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get some estimates of the cost, and then we'd have to go through a process to get actuals, but
yeah, and
I
we'd have
threw
to
that
submit
out
to
as a
town hall
question,
to
yeah,
get them.
But my view is submit all 5, and then if they approve all 5, we prioritize the ones we want out of those 5 and see what the engineering cost is of those.
Yeah, that's a good
Because I
way.
bet there's
yeah.
less engineering cost just guessing for the tactile things on the crosswalks than there might be
Yeah, I
for
could engineer that.
re-engineering the intersections.
How's
Yeah.
that?
You and Nicole, she's got the design
She's got the
skills.
design.
But no, so I think that getting all of them may not be, I mean, if the worst thing that happens is we get funded for $500,000 of state money for these projects, and it's gonna cost us however much, we can find that out and make an informed decision. So I lean
Would you
towards.
put them all out to bid as
Right.
a group?
Yeah,
Like
I
say-
would do
Say
them
all
all.
engineering
Yeah.
services for
Yeah.
all 5,
Yeah.
see if they give us a deal.
All right,
Right.
possible.
yeah.
Right.
So anyway,
And if we do submit, if you submit all 5,
Yep.
my understanding is if we submit all 5, say we only got approval from town meeting to do 1 or 2, we would get funding for those 2 projects, but it's within that 5-year, we could still resubmit,
Yeah.
couldn't we?
Just
So,
confirm
Yes.
that.
yeah.
To keep
there's-
trying to get approval, you mean?
Yeah.
if we didn't use it initially and we had to wait
Right.
2 years for town meeting to approve the design
Right.
for something else.
yeah, I guess then it says no motion, but I think that a motion to apply, I'll make a motion since it's not written down.
Go for
it. To,
I'm looking for it. so
yeah,
go
it's not
ahead.
there.
No, we didn't write one.
I'll make a
This one.
motion to submit all 5 projects to DOT for approval and see what
what
comes
happens.
back. Yeah,
Second.
You cut me out
But
of this completely.
completely, yeah. It's been moved, you get to vote. It's been moved and seconded to submit all 5 DOT and see what comes back. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I left that hanging.
Yeah,
That's what
I
happens
like
when we
it.
don't follow the scripts.
I like it.
All right.
Well, we
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, moving to Exchange Street. Your last month, you had requested that the Economic Development Committee review the situation on Exchange Street, that we have Lucas Italian Deli and Stacked came before you asking, each asked for a parking space that could be marked as 15-minute parking for pickup only or something to that effect. So we did, at our last meeting, meet with, actually, the owners of Lucas Italian Deli were there. We also had, again, our DPW Director, Jim McKay, Police Chief Chris Safire, and Planning Board Chair Rich Nichols attended. The Economic Development Committee did vote unanimously to recommend that the Select Board allow each one of the businesses to have 1 parking space. Mr. McKay did state that the DPW could go in and, spray paint on the ground, 15-minute parking, pickup only, or to whatever language you decided. We did also discuss the issue of either parking signs or sandwich boards. So, as listed on our memo to you, we do have, would suggest the recommendation of allowing the businesses, one or the other, or both of these two options. Either allowing them to have a sandwich board that states something, a similar language to whatever is stenciled on the ground, 15-minute parking, pickup only, or to have a sign that is posted on their building in front of the parking space. We did have some caveats for both options.
Sandwich boards? Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. If you were to decide to allow for sandwich boards, we did, our recommendations are the sandwich boards only be out during that company's office hours, working hours.
I'm making faces because I hate everything about this, but continue.
I'm not a fan of the sandwich, there's a proposed, I think that
Everything
the stenciled spaces, 2 stenciled spaces is where I was leaning at that point, but. yeah.
So the businesses did ask for the
Yeah.
sandwich boards, which is why we have these caveats in here. If you decide to allow for sandwich boards, that they only be on the sidewalk during business hours, that they be weighted on the bottom to ensure that they don't tip over easily, that they're placed in such a way that they do not impede pedestrian traffic, that they're removed during snow emergencies or at any other time indicated by the town, that they not be placed on top of snow piles or on any other uneven surfaces, and that each business owner would be liable for any damages caused by the sandwich board. In the alternative, you could allow for the installation of a sign, a permanent sign on the building directly in front of.
Nicole, can we just back up a second?
Sure.
Okay. How many businesses, we got to go back to the beginning. I really would have liked to have been in on one of these meetings. How many businesses are on Exchange Street from, tip to toe there? From the old town hall, how many?
4 restaurants.
Yeah, there's 4 restaurants total.
There's just
One of
4.
which-
Just 4 restaurants.
There's 4
Yeah.
restaurants,
Four
but
restaurants,
there's
and about
a
4 other.
dozen, 10 to
Here, the barber.
10 businesses.
And this would apply only to restaurants,
And the
because,
dog,
you know,
the
can't
dog
take over
grooming,
here.
and
yes, mine only takes 15
antique
anyway,
shop
so I'm
over
good.
So,
Yeah.
Cappies, what's the name of Cappies?
Victory Lane. Yeah.
Thank you. Victory Lane, I know they have parking in the back, but were they in on this? Did they want anything? They have takeout.
They were not present at our meeting. I'm,
And,
What?
They're the ones that are taking all the spaces.
yeah, and I'll summarize what we heard at the meeting.
yeah, I was not,
Everybody's-
I was
there- we
away.
have-
I wasn't present when they presented
Yeah.
to the select
The
board.
4 restaurants there on the street
Right.
have shifted predominantly to takeout. And there's not places for people to show up and park to take out, because Victory Lane is taking most of the street parking and their lot. In fact, their lot may not, I think the street parking is choice A for a lot of people. So the idea of setting aside at least 2 for all 4 businesses, because most of it's less than 15 minutes. You're not going for the full 15 minutes. You're pulling in,
so-
running out, running back out. I'm parking at John's Auto Repair when I do it, to pick up over there, because I can't find a place.
Okay, so.
He
you're
works
ta-
enough in my cars, I figure it's okay.
So you're talking about from Stacks?
Yeah.
in
Right,
front of
they're the one
Stacks,
that really
Yeah.
wants it, and the Italian
And
grocery.
Lucas really wants
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And who?
Lucas
Lucas,
Italian
the
Deli.
Italian.
Are those,
Yeah.
are those,
Those were the 2
what's
that,
the third one?
well, the Saigon, I
Saigon.
don't know that's.
Oh,
I-
Saigon.
I haven't heard anything.
didn't really
We
They
didn't
haven't
hear
mentioned,
from
they
Saigon.
haven't mentioned anything, but that's,
is all takeout.
yeah, that's
They're all-
100%.
And they weren't even there at the meeting.
They're further on the end of the building next to Lucas, the one at Lucas would cover Saigon
Oh,
and
both,
them.
okay.
And Stacked would cover
Okay.
the other end of the street. So if we spaced them like that, that was the idea. And I'm not a fan of the sandwich boards personally.
Oh
I
my
like the
God.
sidewalks, I like the stencil on the ground. And if we need to put a sign on a building, we can go down that road later, but I like the stencil on the ground to start us with. This is a attempt to
So, hold on,
placate and
hold on.
benefit.
So a stencil on the ground, you're talking about on the parking space?
Yes.
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 On the parking space, somebody is gonna, who's gonna make the, you're gonna
Right.
make a stencil, so it's gonna
Yes.
be uniform.
Yes.
You're gonna do like white paint. paint it
Right.
black and put the white paint. Okay.
With two
You
birds
see
on it,
some
right?
of these trucks that are, they're not even gonna see it, number
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and that was, the police chief did comment that it would be important to advise the business owners that the police do not have the
The right
ability
to-
to.
This
Right.
is
It's
not
not
enforceable.
It's not enforceable.
We're
So
trying to
if they,
encourage civility.
yes,
Yeah.
it's really simply going to be, hopefully, if customers honor it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is no ability for the town
Okay.
to enforce it.
And so if you did the stencil, are we also talking about a sign? Forget the sandwich
No.
board. I can just see the snowbank now with the
Yeah,
sandwich board.
no, we weren't.
With,
Don't touch my stuff.
with the sandwich board, like,
Lord.
you know, into the street.
Well, and that was why we were listing these
Everything about
caveats,
it.
but
gonna
the
touch it.
sign, if our recommendation was that the business owners would have to purchase at their own cost, the sign, and attach it to the building, and they
Yeah.
would
Oh, all
then,
right, all
not having the DPW come in, dig up the sidewalk and install a sign.
Good.
And just to inform the business owner, if you decide to allow them to do that, they're gonna have, well, Stacked owns their building, so they can do that.
Okay.
Lucas would have to get permission
From the
from
land-
the building
okay.
owner
Landlord, yeah.
before they attach a sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, the sign is no more enforceable than the stencil
Okay.
on the ground.
Not,
I was going to say,
okay.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add, there was a big hoopla about sandwich board signs back in the day, before any of you were on the
Well,
board.
no,
if I
we've
remember
decided
correctly.
sandwich boards are
That's what I
gone.
was going
I
to
mean,
say,
they're
so
dead
if
on
you
this-
go, you might
on
not
this
want to go
bucket.
backwards.
Well, I
It's not- I understand
completely-
what they're
I
looking
completely
for, but
agree.
yeah,
I mean,
it
that was,
became-
you know,
it
this
became a big
was.
issue.
Listen, I applaud.
Because once you put a sign, once you allow one business to have a
Yeah,
sandwich
no.
board, then you can't, you have to allow
I
everybody
can
to
just
have
see
them.
it now. It's in have you ever lived in Boston
Yeah.
with the trash cans and the lawn chairs?
Oh, yeah.
It'll be moved.
Yeah.
There'll be sandwich
And,
board.
and when our.
All of a sudden, there'll be a sandwich board on every spot.
Yeah. And when our DPW director volunteered the stenciling,
Oh
said it
my
was
God.
achievable,
Right.
that's when I stopped hearing sandwich boards.
So I applaud all of this. I really do, because obviously you've put time into it. None of it is going to matter. Nobody pays attention to it. Yours truly, I'm one of them. It's like, you're not going to tell me where to park. It's a free whatever. If I'm going to go in and sit down for half an hour, sorry, Italian grocery, I come in enough and I find my own spot. I make my own way. So to me, it's going to look, it's not going to look good. You're going to have one sign on this building that says 15-minute, not going to match this one. That's going to bother me. These are the kinds of things that bother me. I like
Well, you-
uniformity, and I like it to make sense.
You
It's
don't
not
have
gonna
to,
work.
you don't
I-
have to allow the signs, you know, to just
I
grant
know.
the
And you're
sidewalk.
not going to look, you're going to see, you're going to park, you're going to get out, and then you're going to go, oh, I didn't, and you're going to walk right in.
Well, I,
There will be a
Just-
few.
just-
There will be
There'll be-
several.
I will s-
I
I will-
will not be parking there long-term, because I only do pickup anyway, but.
I think I think since COVID, since so
I
so
know.
many people are doing pickup, and because so many businesses now have 10-minute pickup spots.
I know.
I think people will be.
I know, but it's such a.
A little more.
It's
Yeah.
so tough there anyway with our ridiculous parking.
Well,
Right.
to that point, Ellen, the discussion did come up with regards to parallel parking, and Mr. McKay did inform the committee that there's enough room on Exchange Street that I think the board, this board has discussed before,
Okay.
that you can have parallel parking on both sides of the street, and you would approximately have the same amount of parking by having parallel on both sides of the street. You're not really going to lose any spaces.
Okay,
However,
there's always a however.
the chief did state that parallel parking is much safer than angled parking.
Right.
Because you have a much clearer sight line when you are
Wait a
pulling
minute,
out.
so you go for the parallel parking?
I personally think
yeah.
parallel
Why
parking.
don't we put meters there too and make a little money?
Well, that's not, that wasn't
Slow it
the
down.
Economic Development Committee's.
Am I moving too fast?
That's not what your board said, you asked us to look
Right.
at.
We were very, and this is what I said at the meeting too, because we went down this path, and I was looking at an 8:30 adjournment at that meeting. So I commented, why don't we
And if
address
I'm
what's in
not-
front of us?
If I'm not careful, he kicks me under the table, so, you know, I have to keep to the schedule.
All right.
I have no control of this meeting.
But that may be that may be something that
Yeah.
this,
Okay.
again,
Okay.
it's
This
been presented,
digression is
but.
why I am not participating.
Okay, okay.
I would make the motion, amend the motion, may I?
You may.
I would make a motion that we adopt the recommended Exchange Street parking plan with the exclusions of items 1 and 2, where it talks about the signboard and on the building parking, just go with the stenciling on the street. And we see how that goes. We
I
can
like
always add additional, but we can start with
Again,
that.
I would make the point that if you spray paint these spots, that you do advise the the restaurant
Yeah.
owners that this is not an enforceable item. The police, they
Yeah.
can't call the police and say someone's been parked there
Right.
for 45 minutes.
Right.
Because
Which
the
they're
police.
aware of that.
Yeah, but just so that it's, you know, because it's not an enforceable item.
It's more
And-
an act of kindness, I think, Ellen, to not
Well, you
park
know
in the
how-
spot
you
and
know
just.
how I
and-
feel about acts of
and-
kindness.
And I think it's just hoping people will be more rule followers and try to be nice, I think, but yeah.
No, I listen.
It's just I think it makes them.
And not for nothing, but in the old days, when we had snow and ice, you won't see these for 5 months out of the year.
Yeah,
But
it's
now,
true.
you know, global warming, you might have them 24/7.
Yeah.
But I like your amendment.
I second his motion.
Okay, it's been moved that we adopt the recommendation with the exclusions of item 1 and 2, the sandwich board and the on-building signs. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, passes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I completely
Moving
lost
on.
control and track.
Item 166.
Oh, DPW contract change change orders. Yes,
Yes.
you're back.
Yes, I am. This will take 5 minutes. So this missed
Three?
the cut from last week, last month. This is a MAPC contract for line painting. We just didn't put it on, I forgot to put it on.
Okay.
And it exceeds the amount that, you know, the town administrator and I can approve. So I would ask that you, this is a new company.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We've had them before,
K5?
but just they changed their name. Long story that you really don't want to.
We don't need to hear it.
It always is.
So it's K5 Corporation, and I would ask for it not to exceed of $25,000.
Okay. We're just going to jump right into this. 'cause
Do that one because that's set.
I move that the board approve entering into contract through the MAPC with K5 Corporation for road pavement markings in an amount not to exceed $25,000 and to authorize the town administrator to sign on the board's behalf.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the $25,000 and allow the town administrator to sign on the board's behalf. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, these two are a little more in-depth, but I'll go quickly. The SCADA upgrade, I believe you have an email from the IT director in your packet that he also recommends this. So the SCADA system, we're working on Windows 7. Is it 7?
Yes.
And it's gone. It's finally, we try to keep it as long as we could. What we use it for is, Windows 7 is for all the reports that we print out monthly for the DEP, and if we need a water usage or tabulation. But it can't be upgraded, and you can't upgrade Windows 7. So what that would include is, these are just the prices of Woodward & Curran would go out, and why we're using Woodward & Curran. Woodward & Curran designed and built the SCADA system for us. And that would be a lump sum for the computers of $22,000. And I have to tell you, working with Jim Donovan, I mean, it's like, even working with Pete over the years, we've started to integrate both, from Pete to even now further with Jim. The SCADA system should be in the fold of the IT director. It should not be under the DPW director. You know, I signed all the licenses for it, and it should be him, and he is taking that over, as Pete was over the years. So Jim's much more involved in this. And again, that's what he's supposed to do. He's a smart man, and that's what he's doing.
And by the time of the board's next meeting, he will
He will be
be
full-time?
full-time here.
Excellent.
Okay, great. Okay, you ready for my motion?
I am.
I move that the board approve entering into a contract with Woodward and Curran to upgrade the SCADA computer system for a lump sum fee of $22,000 and to authorize the town administrator to sign on the board's behalf.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to allow the town administrator to sign an agreement with Woodward and Curran for $22,000 to authorize the town to upgrade the computer system from Windows 7 to something more modern. No, Windows 11, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously.
And lastly is the two upgrades for, change orders 6 and 7 for the Winston to Winston, and that's for the upgrade of the PFAS, DeAngelis PFAS plant. One is when they put the beams up in the ceiling. It was, not that we cut it out, when they put the bolts through the steel, they started to rust. And, I mean, all that plant does is it just generates pure water, steam, and rust. It was an unforeseen thing when it was being designed, and it needs to be done. What I gave you is what's left in the contingency plan money. So we would ask that you allow the town administrator to sign sign pay rec number 6 for $20,000, and here we go at $6.
Not to exceed $6?
Not to $6.
Yeah.
Actually, I put them together in the
Do we
motion.
want to
if you
do
wanna
number
both.
7 too?
Huh?
I
You
put
can do
them
both,
together
absolutely.
in the motion. If you want to do
Yeah,
7
roll
as
them
well.
both together, yeah.
Yeah, you can do both, and all that is just, it was upgrades to the panel, needed more work for the SCADA system.
Okay.
And that's in $3,101.
Okay, I move to approve change order number 6 in the amount of $20,006 and change order number 7 in the amount of $3,101 for Winston Builders in relation to the construction of the DeAngelis PFAS water treatment plant.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to allow the town administrator to sign the change order number 6 and 7, $20,006 for change order 6 and $3,101 for change order 7 for Winston Builders for the PFAS plant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass unanimously.
So with the PFAS plant, we actually got the final authorization from the insurance company. They finally so the town took ownership of the plant.
Excellent.
Was it Friday? So
Awesome.
we do plan on activating the plant on Wednesday. Karen will send out a robocall, because we do expect rusty water, because we're changing the flow of the water, system. But we will send out PFAS-free water on Wednesday.
With extra iron.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
Temporarily. Yep, thanks.
Okay, great.
There's a lot of health benefits in that water now.
There is. I don't have to take my iron pill anymore.
Yeah. I think we have that.
Thanks.
All right.
Now what?
Mutual aid agreements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
ahead.
After some discussion with our ACO
Yeah.
in regards to our current management of our animal control services, she has spoken to me about adding the town of Milford onto our mutual aid. Right now, we do have a mutual aid agreement with the town of Norfolk. Just to be clear, this wouldn't be adding a town to an intermunicipal agreement, so there's no money exchanged here. This is simply if we have a problem and need backup, this gives authorization for ACOs from the town of Milford to come assist with Medway and Millis, and vice versa.
Okay.
And so Aaron strongly recommends this. We have a good informal relationship with Milford right now, but legally, it would be very advisable for us to have a formal mutual aid agreement, and this is basically the same language we have with the town of Norfolk. So I'd be asking the board this evening to consider approving the mutual aid agreement with the town of Milford, and that'll cover us really from both sides of our little district.
And I just wanted to add, Mike, that this is the same, it's the exact same agreement as we have with Norfolk. We did have town council look through it, and they said this is acceptable.
All right.
Okay, I move that the board approves the mutual aid agreement with Milford for regional animal control services as written.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the mutual aid agreement with Milford for animal control services. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, letter about Housing Authority.
Finally.
I have you speaking to it. I don't know if
Finally.
there's anything to actually speak to.
Yeah,
This is
there's
the
a
final
letter, and I hope we've all had a chance to read it. I looked it over, I thought it was acceptable. If anybody has any edits, hearing none, I'll wait for Ellen to make her motion since
Right.
she's in such a hurry to get this done.
I know. Well, no, so just to remind everybody, this was what, a few meetings ago, right?
Yeah.
We invited
Start of the summer, yeah.
Candace in from Millis Housing to talk about the CHAMPS program and how it was not helping house our residents. So she drafted a letter, and we're going to put it on our website to,
We can.
what are we doing with it, Karen?
We can put it on the website, or we can actually send it
Send
off
it
to
to the
the
state
delegation.
Should we ask
The delegate?
to push it forward like we used to, or no?
Well, we're gonna send it to the state legislatures. Are you asking the community?
Yeah.
Yeah, on our town website, let's
Yeah,
put that
sure.
anybody who would like to comment and, and concur and send a letter to the state
Okay.
legislature, here's their addresses and here's the reasons.
All right,
Right.
encourage people to.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
can I just ask a question
sure.
of the finances on here?
Lisa Harden, 56 Walnut. I just have a question on the numbers that are on the first page at the next to last paragraph, where it's talking about one vacancy of ours.
Yeah.
The cost per packet is $61. They mailed out 100. So then they say the cost to fill the unit is $610. To me, it sounds like the packet is 60.
Because they only received 10 back.
They received 10 back,
Right,
yeah.
but they have to mail them all out. The cost to mail it is $61, and they mailed 100.
So
Oh, so
Isn't that
that's 61.
$6,000?
Did we get these
Not
numbers from
six-
Candace?
Not
Yeah.
$600.
It seems like
That was the
$61
That's what I
is
was
too
gonna say.
high.
I looked at this,
Well-
and then
Yeah.
I talked myself out of it.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
maybe that includes the 16
let's-
hours
let's-
of
It was a
staff
number that
time.
looked funny
I
to me.
think the tone and the tenor and the wording is perfect. Just check with
Yeah.
Candace on the price.
Right.
It was
The
only
numbers.
It was
6,100.
Yeah.
funny because
Yeah.
Karen noticed something didn't make sense
Yeah.
and didn't send it out, and then went
Then I went on
away
vacation,
and
and I
then-
came back, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
and thought
this
it was
looks fine
good.
to me.
Yeah.
Multiplied it by the 10 packets
Not
instead of the
done.
100
I
packets.
It's
did, so
60
then I was like,
61
oh, I know it's only the
seems,
10
unless there's
packets. I'm
some,
like, what was I looking
I
at?
don't
But
know
now
how
that
you
makes
could
complete
generate
sense.
$61 per packet. So check to make sure that's not $6.10 per
I'm
packet.
sure it is.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
That's what it has to
The
be.
postage
Because-
is
It has to
probably
be.
$6, but they're including the
That makes far
16
more sense.
hours of staff
The
time.
staff time is
I
included.
knew
Okay.
there was something.
Yeah.
All right, you'll
But-
get the number.
But I
Okay,
think it's
we'll
more
get
than
the- I will-
610.
I will double check on the
That's
number.
all. If the
Or
rest of
just have her confirm, because I could envision that there's some coincidence.
Right.
Yeah, that 16 hours of staff time to fill it plus 100 packages at whatever. I'm just surprised it's 610. Just have her confirm it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so I move that the
Yeah.
board approve the letters to our legislative delegation regarding the Millis Housing Authority as written, pending your confirmation
Pending
of that
confirmation of
number.
the numbers.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to send the letter, Millis Housing Authority letter to our state legislatures and post on the website, pending confirmation of the final numbers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, pass unanimously. All right, Safe Coalition.
Safe Coalition, that's me. And actually, what you have in your packet is an old email, so I'm just gonna let you know what the new plan is here. I don't remember, I don't know
Is the
if
new
you
plan
remember
the
last
motion?
year. The new plan is in the motion,
Okay.
yes. So it's an overdose awareness event. They were originally going to do a walk, and they decided to change that. I don't know if you remember last year, there were lots of little purple flags out
Yeah.
on the, in front of Town Hall. This is the same thing.
Okay.
They want to put flags on the common, they're calling it the common, in front of Town Hall from August 28th to September 1st. Then they're going to have a short vigil on the Common on August 31st at 3:45. They would do that over here on the side lawn for 30 minutes, including a brief welcome, moment of silence, a testimonial, and a moment of remembrance. And it really went well last year. I think it was a really nice event. Jim McKay, I would say it's important for him to approve it so he can make sure the lawn is mowed prior to them coming.
Okay. I move that the board approves the request from Safe Coalition for an overdose awareness event to include placing flags on the lawn outside of the Veterans Memorial Building from 8/28/23 to 9/1/23, and to hold a 30-minute vigil on the side lawn on 8/31/23 at 3:45 PM in coordination with the DPW director.
Second.
Moved and seconded to authorize the Safe Coalition Overdose Awareness Days with flags on the lawn outside the Veterans Memorial Building from 8/28 to 9/1/2023, and to hold a 30-minute vigil on the side lawn on 8/31/2023 at 3:45 in coordination with the DPW director. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
And then we have two one-day special alcohol licenses. The first one is for the Millis Lions Club as applied for by Lois Lawson. This would be at the Church Function Hall located at 974 Main Street. It is a dinner fundraiser. It is nonprofit. It will be held between 5 and 8 for wine and malt only.
I move that the board approves a one-day special alcohol license for the Millis Lions Club through Lois Lawson for a nonprofit event to be held from 5 to 8 PM on Saturday, 22nd, located at 974 Main Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the one-day special alcohol license for the Millis Lions Club through Lois Lawson for a nonprofit event to be held between 5 and 8, September 22nd, located at 974 Main Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously.
I just wanted to note as well that the Millis Lions Club recently lost, very unexpectedly, the president of the Lions Club. She died unexpectedly. Her name was Lisa Duhamel, and she did a lot of good work for the Lions. And we just want to send our condolences to the Millis Lions. Moving on to another one-day special alcohol license. This one was submitted by Nathan Maltinska on behalf of the Bogastow Fish and Game Club for the ComCan employee reception. That would be held from 5 to 10 PM. It is also nonprofit. It would be all alcoholic beverages and held at the Fish and Game Club located at 247 Ridge Street.
I move that the board approves a one-day special alcohol license for the Bogastow Fish and Game Club through Nate Maltinsky for an event to be held from 5 to 10 PM on August 26th at 247 Ridge Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a one-day special alcohol license for the Bogastow Fish and Game Club through Nate Maltinsky for a nonprofit event to be held from 5 to 10 on August 26th, located at 247 Ridge Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. I was wondering why you were still here.
I know.
in the hood.
Where else are you gonna
You're in
go?
the
House in the hood.
So I have one request.
Yes.
So,
Does it relate to what we just voted?
yes.
You may not want to push it. Okay.
No, actually, it relates to this weekend. So this weekend, we have our annual clam bake at the Bogastow Fish and Game, which we have a one-day liquor license for that also, which is our 84th annual. But in respect to the sight lines for that intersection of Ridge and Middlesex, I'm wondering if we can get the DPW to do some clearing of the vegetation, because we have 150 to 200 people come to that event, our vehicles, and the sight lines right now are terrible. The sides of the roads are not getting cut. So if we can make a request that DPW go down and weed whip or some kind of machine go in and maybe just clear that intersection so the sight lines are cleared up, that'd be
We
great.
can make a request. Yeah, see
Yeah,
what he
just-
has available and see what he can do.
Yeah, this Sunday is the clam bake, and then probably by September or the end of the month, won't be grown up that much.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Board and committee liaison updates. Well, let me tell you about Complete Streets. That's all I had.
Goes to one meeting, and it's like,
Well, my meetings result in coming here.
I actually have one.
Oh.
Do?
Holy.
I know, can you
Is it
believe it?
cemetery?
No.
I went to the local emergency planning
Oh, yes,
meeting.
that's right.
Yeah.
I was there
It
as
was
well.
about a hazard mitigation plan that, we'd be putting together, and talked about local hazard areas that we identified in terms of flooding, brush fire, and wind. And just pretty much, it was a phase one to identify the different areas for the different categories. And there'll be more work ongoing to set up plans and so forth, but we had that initial meeting.
Is that a new liaison?
No, I was it last year too.
They don't
meet that often.
No, but we are gonna be meeting.
Once a year,
For this,
Eric?
more than once a
Yeah.
year, for this whole plan. There'll be public outreach, all sorts of stuff, so,
Oh,
yeah.
I want that one next year.
Yeah.
I was
After
actually,
this is done.
I want that one
Exactly.
next year, after they've done
I
it
will
all.
say, I was at that meeting as well. It was very interesting, very
Really?
informative. I learned a lot. Very
Look, I
interesting.
gave up
I
cemetery
know, I
to
have that
you,
tomorrow night, my first one.
and I got razzed about it, like I left them in the dust, because I
serious?
said, well,
Did
I
they-
had to give somebody else a turn.
They thought you didn't want it.
I said, no, I
And
loved
said
it.
that you loved it, and that you wanted me to love it too. I actually had a liaison meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Whereabouts?
The Energy,
Yeah.
which, by the way, this is the only meeting I've been to. I have Charles River Wednesday. Did you ever confirm what we have?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
because,
But there hasn't been a lot, there
There
have
haven't
not
been a
been a
lot
lot
of
of
meetings
meetings
this
this
summer.
summer.
August,
okay.
there's not a lot.
So the Energy Committee, mostly they're trying to draft a report with real goals and real policies and procedures to get to zero in 50 years. They've- I mean, I think they can do it because we've got some other reports from some other towns and we're working off of. Do you want to talk about yours again, or?
No, I'm good.
You're good, okay.
We'll get a couple more coming up before our next meeting. All right, next item up is the minutes.
What about the water and sewer committee?
That comes
That's
after the
next.
minutes.
Really? I thought the minutes were last.
Well, I can
Usually.
put the minutes last if you'd like, but I'm going by the order they're given to me.
Okay.
Okay. So that requires a motion.
Oh, I move that the Board of Drafts approves the draft minutes from 3/29/21, 4/5/21, 4/12/21, and 7/19/23 as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from 3/29/21, 4/5/21, 4/12/21, and 7/19/23 as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now Ellen.
Okay. Do I just say this?
Yes.
No
Water and
discussion
sewer
or
committee.
anything?
Do we have discussion?
Well, just to let the board know in the packet, you have
Just the
the
monthly
water and sewer commitments for June and July, and the amounts is written.
Okay. I move that the board approve the water and sewer commitment to the collector for July 2023 in the amount of $4,433.91, and the commitment from June 23 in the amount of $2,491.04.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the commitments for June and July for $4,433.91 and $2,491.04. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. I'll make a motion that I move that the board enter executive session to discuss strategies with respect to potential litigation for dangerous dog decision appeal. And motion second.
Second.
I'll poll the board. Aaron?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
They're gone.